If you feel manipulated, underestimated, or restrained, understand this truth. It is not accidental. Those in power survive only by ensuring you never awaken to the dark power that could free you, the power Machiavelli himself whispered to rulers behind closed doors. Today, we uncover it. Today, we confront a universal problem. Why do some people rise while others remain controlled, silenced, and overlooked? You will learn the hidden force powerful men have used for centuries, the same force they fear you discovering. Imagine a world where every interaction, every gesture, every silence hides a secret transaction of influence. You walk through your days believing power belongs to the loud, the wealthy, the famous, or the well-positioned. But Machiavelli would lean toward you and whisper that this belief is the first illusion preventing you from rising. Power has never been a birthright reserved for a chosen few. It is a force claimed by those who understand the fragile architecture of human nature, especially its weaknesses. And once you understand these weaknesses, you grasp the thread that unravels the entire structure of control built around you. Consider this. Most people assume power flows downward, leaders commanding followers, kings commanding subjects, bosses directing workers. But the true current of power moves upward, built quietly on the fears, desires, and insecurities of the masses. A ruler appears mighty only because those beneath him choose to believe he is. Strip away that perception, and even the most feared prince is nothing more than a man in silk clothes. Machiavelli saw this in every palace corridor. The illusion of power can be more potent than power itself, because perception controls behavior long before force ever does. When you learn to read human weakness, you suddenly see that strength is not always about having the upper hand. It is often about understanding why the other person refuses to use theirs. People hesitate. They doubt. They care about approval. They want safety. They crave validation. They fear judgment. They yearn for acceptance. And these cravings form the invisible chains that stronger minds quietly exploit. A person who understands these chains can guide outcomes without raising a voice, without lifting a finger. Power begins to flow toward the one who recognizes what others try desperately to hide. This is what they fear you discovering. Most individuals give up their power willingly. They surrender their authority the moment they worry about opinions. They shrink themselves when conflict arises. They bend when pressure whispers in their ear, not because they lack intelligence or ability, but because the weaknesses within them drown their potential. A single confident, decisive person can command a room filled with hesitant, uncertain ones. Strength does not dominate weakness by force. It pulls it in like gravity. Now imagine applying this understanding in your own life. Think about the people around you. Some fear embarrassment, a soft tone and a sharp question can unravel their resolve. Some crave praise, a single compliment becomes a leash. Some avoid confrontation, a steady gaze becomes enough to silence them. Some hunger for belonging, offering them a place at your side creates loyalty stronger than any contract. These small observations are not manipulation in the sinister sense. They are the mechanics of influence. The same mechanics rulers, generals, merchants, and leaders have used for centuries. Machiavelli would remind you that power rewards the observer, not the dreamer. You must watch people closely. Notice how quickly they shift their opinions when someone confident speaks up. Notice how often they choose comfort over courage. Notice how easily distraction pulls them away from purpose. Every weakness you recognize becomes a lever you can pull when needed. The world is not ruled by the strongest fists, but by the keenest eyes. And here is the unsettling truth hidden from common understanding. You do not need a title, a crown, or a superior position to wield power. You need clarity. Clarity of how people think, what they fear, and how they respond when pressure touches their most vulnerable points. When you understand these dynamics, power flows to you naturally, silently, even unwillingly from others. Power is not some mystical force floating above society. It is the predictable outcome of understanding human weakness so deeply that you move through the world with the confidence of someone who sees what others deny. Knowledge becomes dominance, awareness becomes authority, and the ability to decipher weakness becomes the quiet, dark power they never wanted you to notice. In the quiet corridors of power, The greatest fear is not a sword or an army. It is the awakening of the mind that sees clearly. Your enemies, those who seek to control, deceive, or diminish you, live in constant vigilance, scanning for threats that are physical, financial, or social. Yet what terrifies them most is invisible. It is the day you recognize that manipulation, the deliberate strategic shaping of perception, is not immoral, but a tool as precise and effective as any weapon. Until that moment, they can dismiss you, underestimate you, and even mock you. But once you awaken to this truth, the rules of engagement shift entirely, and you move through the world with a freedom they cannot anticipate. Consider how society teaches us to fear manipulation. From childhood, we are told that influencing others is wrong, that persuasion is a moral compromise. But the most successful rulers in history understood that morality is often a mask worn by the weak to excuse their hesitation. Machiavelli observed that the ability to sway, guide, or shape the choices of others is not a sin, it is a necessity. Those who can harness it survive, thrive, and dominate. Those who cannot are bound by the whims of those who do. It is a lesson most people never fully grasp, and this ignorance is the shield behind which power hides from you. Your enemies fear this moment because manipulation is not brute force. It does not announce itself with loud commands or threats. It works quietly, like a shadow slipping between cracks in their defenses. They fear that once you recognize how to influence others subtly, the balance of control will tilt. A single phrase, a measured pause, a calculated compliment, or a deliberate omission can shift their behavior without them realizing they were ever under your influence. When you understand this, you become untouchable in ways they cannot defend against. They cannot fight what they do not see. Manipulation is not about deceit for its own sake. It is about understanding human psychology and acting in alignment with it. When someone fears loss, you present opportunity. When someone craves validation, you offer acknowledgement. When someone clings to ego, you maneuver carefully around it, creating the illusion that they act freely, even as you guide their choices. The brilliance lies in subtlety. To the untrained eye, it may seem like chance or coincidence, but in reality, it is the deliberate orchestration of outcomes. And this, more than any army or weapon, is what terrifies your adversaries. Machiavelli himself noted that rulers who wield influence quietly are more secure than those who rely on fear or brute force. Fear is fleeting. Authority based solely on intimidation collapses under sustained pressure. But influence grounded in strategy and understanding endures. When your enemies realize that you comprehend and employ these principles, they understand that they are no longer the architects of the world. They are simply pieces in your game. Their anxiety grows because they know that once you remove moral hesitation and accept manipulation as a tool, there is no limit to how effectively you can act. The awakening to this truth also transforms the way you see yourself. Most people see influence as a privilege of rank, a power granted by titles or social position. But in truth, anyone who observes, analyzes, and applies knowledge of human behavior can wield it. The moment you grasp this, you understand that no one controls you but yourself. You begin to anticipate moves before they are made, subtly shape decisions without confrontation, and quietly neutralize threats before they can surface. This realization shifts your existence. Every interaction becomes a strategic opportunity, every conversation a chessboard, every alliance a bridge to secure your position. And your enemies, who once relied on your compliance or ignorance, now fear the precision with which you act. They fear that the moment you no longer view manipulation as dishonorable, you become not only capable, but inevitable in shaping outcomes. The world is not ruled by brute strength alone, nor by wealth or influence visible to the eye. It is ruled by those who understand the unspoken currents beneath human behavior and act decisively within them. The true power lies not in confrontation, but in control of perception, control of emotion, control of consequence. Your enemies know this day could come for you, and they fear it. They fear that once you understand manipulation as a tool, you will no longer play by the rules they impose, and the consequences for them will be swift, silent, and irreversible. The most overlooked battlefield in life is not outside you, it is within. Yet, it is also the battlefield that touches everything outside. Machiavelli would tell you that power begins and ends in perception. To rule effectively, you must first understand that what others see, believe, and fear shapes their actions far more than any law, rule, or threat. But before you can master the perceptions of others, you must first master your own. Every hesitation, every doubt, every uncertainty you harbor becomes visible to the world, and others will instinctively exploit it. The ruler who cannot control how he is perceived is already defeated before the first move is made. Consider how perception governs reality. People rarely respond to facts alone. They respond to how facts are presented, the emotion behind them, and the image of the one presenting them. A small gesture, a carefully chosen word, or a confident stance can tip the balance in your favor before a single argument is made. This is why the powerful are often those who seem powerful, regardless of their actual resources or strength. They understand the subtle art of perception. They craft their image, anticipate reactions, and strategically guide opinion. Your life operates under the same rules. Every interaction, every choice, every display of confidence or doubt is a signal to the world about your power, and the world reacts accordingly. Ruling perception begins internally. If you see yourself as weak, hesitant, or indecisive, others will detect it instantly. Self-doubt is louder than any shout. Insecurity is visible in posture, in speech, in fleeting expressions. To command respect and influence, you must first train yourself to embody certainty, even in uncertainty. You do not need to have all the answers, but you must project the conviction of someone who does. The human mind is drawn to decisiveness. Uncertainty breeds exploitation. By mastering your own perception, you deny others the opportunity to manipulate you through fear or doubt. You set the standard for how they must approach you, and in doing so, you claim the first layer of power. Once internal control is achieved, the next step is to influence the perception of others. Observe closely. Every individual operates under a set of assumptions and biases. They interpret your actions through the lens of their desires, fears, and experiences. A calculated word, a strategic pause, or even silence can shift their view of you dramatically. The moment you realize that every interaction is an opportunity to shape belief, you understand the silent power that has always existed around you. You are no longer a passive participant in life. You are the subtle architect of outcomes. Machiavelli taught that the appearance of strength can matter more than strength itself. A leader who appears confident, decisive, and unshakable commands obedience even before demonstrating competence. The same principle applies to your life. Others respond first to what they perceive about you. If you project calm in chaos, others follow. If you maintain composure under scrutiny, they trust you. If you act decisively while others hesitate, you gain influence silently. The world rarely notices the precise calculation behind these actions. They see only the effect, and the effect is authority. Perception is also about timing and restraint. Do not reveal your intentions prematurely. Let others infer, anticipate, and react to your moves. By controlling the flow of information, you control the narrative. People respond not only to actions but to the stories they tell themselves about those actions. By subtly guiding these stories, you shape decisions, influence alliances, and neutralize opposition without ever raising your voice. As others realize you are orchestrating events, the more powerful you become. This mastery of perception extends to reputation. Reputation is the currency of influence. Protect it, cultivate it, and leverage it strategically. A single misstep in public perception can undo years of careful positioning. Conversely, a well-timed display of integrity, decisiveness, or skill can elevate your authority exponentially. The world does not reward truth alone. It rewards those who understand how truth is seen, interpreted, and remembered. Ruling perceptions is not deception for its own sake. It is the conscious shaping of reality in alignment with your objectives. It begins with controlling your inner narrative, extends to influencing external perspectives, and culminates in the seamless integration of both. When you master this, you are no longer subject to the whims of circumstance or opinion. You command the stage on which every interaction unfolds, and your influence becomes almost inevitable. Every great victory in history, every shift in fortune, and every rise to power shares a single hidden principle: the decisive action of one person while the many hesitate. Machiavelli observed this again and again in the courts of Florence, on battlefields, and in the corridors of influence. The world moves slowly because most people are paralyzed by fear, doubt, and overthinking. They wait for certainty, for permission, for approval, and for the perfect moment that never arrives. The dark power, the one your adversaries fear above all, is the courage to step forward decisively when others are immobilized by hesitation. It is not flashy, it is not loud, it is invisible, but its effects are devastating. Hesitation is a silent killer. It whispers in your ear, urging caution, suggesting compromise, and convincing you that inaction is safer than action. While hesitation feels safe, it is a trap meticulously maintained by those who benefit from your stagnation. Those in power fear decisiveness because it exposes the weakness in the system built to contain you. When you act while others deliberate, you suddenly occupy a position they never intended for you. Your initiative becomes unstoppable, not because it is overwhelming, but because it is unexpected. The world rewards those who act, not those who dream. Decisive action requires clarity, courage, and knowledge. Clarity of purpose allows you to recognize opportunities before others even perceive them. Courage compels you to act despite fear, uncertainty, or potential loss. Knowledge gives your actions direction, ensuring they are not reckless but strategic. Machiavelli noted that rulers are not successful because they know everything. They are successful because they act when others hesitate, learning and adapting as they move. Hesitation, by contrast, guarantees failure because opportunities do not wait for the timid. This power is often hidden in plain sight. Many look at it and mistake it for luck, spontaneity, or timing. They fail to recognize that the decisive individual has cultivated the ability to assess risks quickly, weigh outcomes with precision, and commit fully once the moment is clear. Acting decisively does not mean rushing blindly. It means trusting your judgment, owning your choices, and moving with unwavering commitment. The world fears this because it disrupts predictability. Those who control others rely on hesitation. They thrive in a world where everyone pauses, doubts, and defers. You break that pattern when you act. The fear your enemies feel is not abstract. It is deeply personal. They know that hesitation keeps you within the lines they have drawn, keeps your influence manageable, and prevents you from discovering the hidden levers of power. Once you act decisively, you claim initiative, disrupt their expectations, and force them into reactive positions. They can no longer predict your moves, and unpredictability is chaos for those accustomed to control. Decisive action, therefore, is not just a tool of advancement, it is a weapon of liberation. Machiavelli understood that timing amplifies decisiveness. Acting too early can be disastrous, acting too late guarantees irrelevance. The art is knowing when the moment is ripe, when the conditions are aligned, and when hesitation by others has created a vacuum ready to be filled. The decisive individual does not wait for perfect conditions. They recognize opportunity in imperfection and exploit it. Their power grows because they act while others deliberate endlessly, tied to fear and uncertainty. This dark power is also a mindset. Most people fear consequences, imagining every worst-case scenario and letting it paralyze them. The person who wields this power sees consequences not as threats, but as parameters to navigate. They understand that action, even if imperfect, creates results that inaction never will. They recognize that hesitation is a luxury of the weak, a permission granted only to those unwilling to seize control of their destiny. When you awaken to this principle, you realize that the world is filled with waiting individuals, each frozen by doubt, fear, or indecision. And within this frozen mass lies your advantage. You step forward while others freeze, and in doing so, you claim the opportunities they let slip through their grasp. It is a simple truth, yet the most powerful and terrifying: action transforms possibility into reality. This is the dark power they fear you discovering, the ability to move when others cannot, to commit when others waver, and to seize control when everyone else hesitates. It is not taught in schools, preached in sermons, or celebrated in polite conversation, but it underlies every great conquest, every rise to prominence, and every shift in influence. Those who recognize it, master it, and use it shape the world without others even realizing it. Now you understand the truth they have tried to hide from you for centuries. Power is not a gift, and it is not earned by passivity. It belongs to those who see clearly, who act decisively, who shape perceptions, and who understand the weaknesses that others desperately try to conceal. The strategies of influence, the mastery of perception, the courage to act while others hesitate. These are not sins or secrets reserved for the elite. They are tools, accessible to anyone who chooses to wield them. Remember, your enemies do not fear your strength, your knowledge, or even your wealth. They fear your awakening, the moment you realize that the very rules designed to restrain you can be bent, guided, and used to your advantage. Every hesitation you overcome, every perception you master, and every decisive move you make chips away at their control, shifting the balance of power quietly but irrevocably. Machiavelli's lesson is timeless. Freedom and influence are claimed, not given. They are cultivated in silence, exercised in strategy, and solidified through courage. The day you embrace this dark power, the day you understand the mechanics of human nature and act upon them without fear, you step beyond the bounds that others imposed upon you. You move from being controlled to being inevitable. Power, once understood and wielded, becomes your most loyal ally. And the world, unprepared for a mind awakened to these truths, has no choice but to respond.